What up, my freaks? RuinousInsight here with part 43 of my Total Warhammer 2 modded Arkhan the Black campaign. So as we saw last time, a massive Ordertide has declared a war upon us, and we will now probably be flooded with armies of various factions. The Dwarven factions, in addition to Reichland and the Border Princes, and I think there was at least one Bretonnian faction in there, and probably more to follow as we destroy these factions in particular. We do have a buffer zone in the form of the Wood Elves, who will hopefully menace the enemies as they try to approach us, but as we know, they do try to focus the player. In the meantime, Grombrindal, the White Dwarf, has attacked King Lamazash, a level 30 melee expert, great duelist lord who is pretty nasty with all 4 of his unique items against a level 10 archer lord. Not looking so good in terms of the duels here, but at least the auto-resolve looks pretty even. It looks like it could skew either way really, really badly. That's basically what it's saying. And we do have some definite units here that are going to be an issue. The organ guns can very easily destroy Ushabti. Same with the Trollhammer torpedoes. Well, same with the Grombrindal himself. And they do have regular Slayers, though not Giant Slayers. Plus, they have 2 units of Thunderers, 1 Grudgeraker, and 1 regular. It's all quite frightening. We're gonna have our work cut out for us, I think. But I think also it'll be a really fun battle. So let's get to it, shall we? And here we go. Obviously, this is going to be a cinematic battle. And let's just see. I just wanted to see if he has any additional buffs on his army, and it doesn't look like he does, fortunately. Well, let's get to it. Alrighty, here we go. The Ushabti army, this time alone and unsupported by a giant pile of skeletons, facing off against the Dwarven army. I set this up instead of on top of the hill, as close to the enemy as possible to be able to immediately fire when they appeared, and let's see how much damage we can dish out. Now, fortunately, they do have a bunch of dwarf warriors with great weapons up front, and they're going to take quite a beating here. Look at the little axe fly by itself. Oh, and the banner carrier goes down. Lovely. That's a single volley from, I don't know if it was 1 or 2. But that still takes that unit down to half HP. Now, I think the focus here is actually going to be to try to bring down several of the melee units before they get close, then switching to the ranged units as soon as our melee Ushabti engage. At least I feel like that would be a good use. Grombrindal, I believe, is hidden, because I don't believe I could see him when he was approaching. And wow, yeah, the Iron Drakes, I believe I focused with 3 units at the same time. They have the Trollhammer torpedoes. We don't want them firing on our precious Ushabti. Cool unit, though, but about to be dead cool unit. And another couple volleys, there we go, explode a couple more dwarfs, and it looks like they're going to rout, despite the fact that the rest of their army is moving up. The enemy Thunderers are also now approaching, so they should be able to get a few nice armor-piercing volleys into our Ushabti, which means they will take damage. They are also going to send around a unit of dwarves with great weapons onto the flanks. Oh, look at all these Trollhammer torps. The bloody corpses. I actually probably should have targeted the Slayers a little bit more. I did tell one of the units to target them, but I probably should have killed them on the approach, and there we go. Actually, they're pretty surprisingly resistant here. I thought that way more would explode. They're unarmored. Aren't they supposed to be getting completely wrecked by ranged attacks? But it seems like the Trollhammer torpedoes took a lot more damage there. But hey, maybe they're super powered up, although this is Grombrindal. It's not the Slayer King, so I don't imagine they'd be all that crazily buffed up. But yeah, dwarves are marching, or is this supposed to be running, I guess, to get into melee range. Not going to go so well for them. Let's just check what the damage is before they even approach our lines. The Trollhammer torpedoes are down. We are focusing on both units of organ guns at the same time, as well with our Ushabti, which are close enough, fortunately. And most of the melee units are at about half or so HP, with the exception of this Dwarf Warrior unit, which is completely untouched. Grombrindal and the Lords are more or less untouched as well, but I think this is pretty decent. And soon as the enemy approaches, we will be able to countercharge them with our Ushabti. We got a little unit of of the gyrocopters with brimstone guns over top, and here we go. Time to countercharge the enemy. We see the Thane and Grombrindal himself, and yeah, he doesn't have a shield, so if we could have actually focused him down with our ranged units, he probably could have died on the approach, but unfortunately he has that stock ability. Oh, and it looks like these Ushabti are going to lower their Kopeshes and other swords into another charge. And let's see. The battle lines are connecting. Fortunately, we did get a summon of Skeleton Warriors right here, stopping all these units. Going to charge the Slayers over here in the back, sort of. Although we are hopefully going to bring down at least a few of them with a few more arrows. Is that Lamazash's arrow? Yeah. See the golden explosion? That's definitely Lamazash's arrow. And he does kill at least one Slayer. See a couple of those axes flying away. Wow, you look really unbalanced there, Ushabti. Let's see, is that Slayer dead from that? Looks like, yeah, that's pretty dead. I'm about 50% sure that that Slayer is dead. Alrighty, so that's going pretty well, and now that we have connected our melee lines, it's time to retarget the enemy range with all of our Ushabtis with Great Bow. I'm keeping one unit of Ushabti in reserve here just in case Lamizash does get charged by something like a Lord, as he can't really do anything. We're also popping our... what's that? Curse of the Dead Gods or something? I forgot what the spell is called. Something of the Dead Gods. Dread of the Dead Gods. There we go. Alright, close enough. Curse, Dread, whatever. One annoying thing I found is that because the Ushabti with Great Bow have skirmish mode on, the enemy gyrocopters actually can make them move away without moving on top of them. Or rather, like, they don't go into melee, but still, some of the Ushabtis moved away. I actually had to turn off skirmish mode from them just to prevent that from happening. Quite annoying. But good use of the gyrocopters by the AI, I gotta say. Otherwise, we're looking pretty good. Obviously, the Lords are not really getting killed by the Ushabti, but the gyrocopters are now going down that we've targeted them. I got really annoyed and spiteful at them forcing our skirmishers to move away. And it looks like a lot of the enemies are now retreating. This unit of Dwarf Warriors and great weapons and non-great weapons moving away. Several of the range units are about to break or have broken already. In fact, we are chasing one down with a melee unit of Ushabti. These Thunderers are also exploding. And yeah, it looks like we have the reserve Ushabti moving in now as well. And I think it'll be just the enemy Lords left in a couple of seconds. Right after this corollary unit is done. And oh, look, a unit of Dwarf Warriors has recovered and tries to charge, but then routes. A bad idea, I guess. And they're all gonna get chased down until they're dead. The enemy... Oh, it's a chain route, in fact. Obviously, Grombrindal is gonna stay. We use a Nusak's incantation of desiccation on him to prevent him from killing us, and to have the Ushabti, the melee Ushabti, do a little bit more damage, while the bow Ushabti tried to kill the rest of the heroes. But this went really well for us. Let's just watch Grombrindal die now, I guess. Looks like the Ushabti are superior to the Dwarven armies. I mean, obviously they could have brought some cannons and stuff, which would have been pretty threatening as well. Probably considerably more threatening than the organ guns, although the organ guns do pretty decent damage. And ooh, did he bring down an Ushabti? That was actually pretty nice. Good job, Grombrindal. You fight to the death, buddy. And I don't know what that was. I guess it was one of the effects of... one of his effects, or one of his special items. I'm not entirely sure what he used there. And here we go. Now the bow units are gonna take a couple shots at him. Lamazaj is now firing at him, and he's certainly holding his own, but he's about to go. What's the HP there? He's dropping quite quickly, and now that the bows have killed all of his heroes, I think... Oh, it looks like... Yeah, it looks like the heroes have all dropped. I forced the great bows to kill them while they ran. Which is quite effective. The great bows are very good at killing single target units and multi-target units. They're just plain good. And it looks like Grombrindal will be about to go down any second now. There he goes. Looks like his leg got clipped and then he exploded while being on the ground. And just like that, the first battle against Karazakorak is over. It looks like Grombrindal wanted to avenge Clan Angrand, but it's not in the cards, at least today. Let's see how everybody did. I would imagine that... Oh, that one poor Dwarf Warrior. Yeah, I would imagine that the great bows did many times the damage that the melee units did, even though the melee units did hold the line fairly decently. Anyway, and repeat that. Alrighty, a decisive victory, and Grombrindal's army is no more. We actually did pretty darn well with taking very negligible damage. 32 Ushabti lost, but that is more than enough to say that we did well, I think. Or, yeah, I mean, the problem with the dwarves, once again, for them, is that they are vulnerable to armies that are faster than them, although we are not faster than them too much, although the Ushabti are fast enough. The problem for them is their melee line had to actually reach our Ushabti with Great Bow, and because they have that extra hawkish precision, which I now think maybe we'll keep on this army instead of maybe the range army, because at least the range army will have caskets and bone giants in addition to the Ushabtis with Great Bow, but the hawkish precision really does power them up considerably by giving them that extra 25% or whatever it is range. And yeah, look at the damage on a lot of them. About 24, 25, 22, 20k, 15k, all pretty good. Obviously the melee Ushabti didn't quite match it, but they did... I mean, they did pretty well as well. Plus, they did chase down a bunch of enemies, and yeah. What we could have also done is, actually, I wanted to shoot down Grombrindal as he was approaching us, but apparently he has stalk or something, and we just couldn't see him there. Otherwise, maybe all of these guys focusing him together would have killed him before he actually breached our line, although at the cost of other dwarf units surviving. Anyway, we can heal our army to full HP with this, so let's bind the souls, hilariously. And yeah, obviously that's a grudging, because I don't think the dwarves would appreciate their souls being bound. What do we get out of defeating Grombrindal? Speed plus 10 and terror when fighting dwarves. Wow, that is a terrible, terrible buff. And what do we have here? Valmir Agasa. You decided to attack King Wakhoff the Desert Ghoul. That's not a good idea for you, buddy. Now, granted, you have a lot of very high tier units, or at least high rank units, so that's actually quite a few great swords and halberdiers. 59, 58. I actually think that the balance of power is actually screwed up here. It's actually a lot more in favor of the enemy than I think it is, or at least that's my understanding of it, just judging by how these halberdiers are 59 to 58. They would easily be able to destroy a unit of Crypt Ghouls, not even considering how powerful the great swords are with their armor and all their damage and stuff like that. Plus they have the area attacks. We'll obviously have to rely on the Crypt Horrors to deal with them, but they will have to deal with all these halberdiers. Alright, well obviously this is going to have to be another cinematic battle, and I think it'll be a fun one as well. We will... Alright, well I'm going to have to make a cut because the first cinematic battle with Grombrindal was a cinematic one, so here's the cut. Alrighty, there it is, and it's time for round 2, so let's do it. Alrighty, here we go, the Border Princes. They have a fairly, I want to say uninteresting army, but it's the kind of army that you like, you know, for the Imperials. It's your bread and butter army. You've got your Empire Knights, you got your handgunners, you got your crossbows, your halberdiers, and your greatswords. No basic infantry, but the more advanced infantry, as well as some mortars over here. They obviously don't have anything fancy like the Hellblaster volley gun, or the rocket artillery, or steam tanks, or demigriffs, or anything, but like I said, this is going to be a bread and butter type of army, and I think I'll enjoy fighting this, especially as we do have our ghouls. Now, in terms of setup, it's actually pretty interesting. Once again, it looks like Wakhoff has got himself into one of these choke point battles. It seems like almost every choke point battle has been with him. I don't know if he's specialized or he's just lucky. Anyway, this is interesting for us because we have to decide whether we take them at the choke point or whether we allow them through the choke point. and then surround them with ghouls. The thing here is if we trap them in the choke point, we do have our 4 units of Sepulchral Stalkers, which could come up behind the army and just obliterate it. So I think that is the best option here. It's not guaranteed to work because they do have several units of knights that they could counter with, but hopefully it will. In addition, all of our ghouls are hidden because they don't want to be killed by the mortars, whereas our crypt horrors are not hidden. They're actually moving up front a little bit so that if the crypt horror or the mortars are to fire on them, they will not take nearly as much damage as the regular ghouls will. In the meantime, we also have our caster, our Lich Priest. I'm moving it up in the hopes of getting a banishment cast off onto this army somewhere. It is fairly short range, unfortunately. We have to get into range of the enemy handgunner, so I go forward, try to cast it, and then immediately take a volley, and I don't think... and I don't really like that. So instead, we move up and we just repeatedly cast the Shem's Burning Gaze onto them just to try to do a little bit of damage. Doesn't honestly do all that much to blobs of units. A fireball would be a lot better than that. So then instead, in a few seconds, I'll start attacking the enemy lord with the Burning Gazes. There we go. As maybe by taking out the general, it'll make this whole thing a little bit easier. What I was hoping was that the enemy would get annoyed enough at this to go through. The thing is, they are the aggressors here. We can bide our time until they're ready to go. But it looks like they're going to bide their own time, at least while the mortar is firing. But luckily, as I said, they're not going to do too much damage with regards to the Crypt Horrors taking a lot less from the mortar fire. Anyway, this is going to be a little bit of a stalemate for a while, at least until the enemy decides that they want to go forward. Gonna send forward again, and a single volley from those handgunners does so much damage. Unable to dodge that volley, unfortunately, because there is a casting time to that banishment, so that didn't really work out. Gonna have to be real careful, because another volley will probably force the Lich Priest to disintegrate. It is immortal, I believe, because Walkoff is level 18, so I think you should be fairly high level as well, but we do have to be careful. And yeah, well, the Shem's Burning Gaze is doing a little bit of damage, but it's the entire enemy army going into this choke point, which is what we want. Because that will allow our Sepulchral Stalkers to move in, kill the mortar, and then move up behind the enemy army. So, we just gotta keep waiting until they're ready to go. And is this it? Will this be the final move? Well, let's find out. Who's running forward in the front? It looks like the great... Wait, are these great swords? Oh, no, they're crossbowmen. I was like, wait, those swords look way too small. Okay. And there we go. Get a couple of volleys on the priest here, but they've moved in too close, and now their entire blob is in the middle of this banishment. This is a perfect cast, and these units are not super resistant to it, especially units like the crossbows and the halberdiers, and not only that, but it doesn't move out of the enemy blob, so this is amazing. We waited for this entire time, and look at all those freaking corpses, the destruction there, and we even get another free Shem's Burning Gaze on them, and now we will trap them in the checkpoint, or the choke point rather, with our charge of our Crypt Horrors. Looks like the Great Swords are going to counter-charge as well with the spears, but the Crypt Horrors have a little bit of a better time, and the Crypt Horrors, wow, a few of them rushing forward into the fray here. Very nice. I really appreciate that. In the meantime, one of the reasons that we had to do this was to buy King Walkoff time to move in with his double swords, but also his Helm of Discord and his Tormentor's Sword to debuff this entire blob. Also, at the same time, we have our Sepulchral Stalkers charging in and attacking the mortars, preventing them from firing anymore, which will allow the rest of our ghouls to move in and start attacking. Obviously, the mortars are going to get ripped apart. Even if the Sepulchral Stalkers aren't great at fighting units like this in melee, as they are halberds, it should be just fine. We'll just leave one behind, and we'll move the rest forward to try to move up behind the enemy army. In the meantime, lots of debuffs coming in on the enemy and buffs onto our own units. We will have the Foss Protection as well as the Baroness Time Warp moving in while the enemy gets debuffed with several things, as I said. King Walkoff's in here somewhere. I did send him to try to fight the enemy lord. And where are you? Oh, he's right here. There we go. He's trying to fight the general right here. Or at least he's trying to move up. People keep getting in his way. Oh, and there we go. It looks like the duel is going to go through. And this is looking pretty good. Unfortunately, the enemy does countercharge our Sepulchral Stalkers with their Knights. However, this is actually fairly okay, because these guys are Halberdiers, and I did put them on guard mode before, so they're going to have a pretty good time in this sort of matchup, as it is essentially what they're designed for. And if they move away, we can fire in range at them. So, yeah, this is looking pretty good. The choke points are not the AI's forte. Let's agree with that. And there we go, get a couple of blasts in there on these poor handgunners. I'm not entirely sure why the handgunners decided to charge the Sepulchral Stalkers, but I guess that's their problem. Moving into a meat grinder like this, they gotta be pretty brave. Oh, I've never seen that animation. Or at least I don't remember seeing it. It just, like, held up one of the enemy infantry on its halberd. That was really cool. I wonder if we could see that one again. I'd love to see it, although let's just check out what's going on in the center over here. The enemy is still holding the line, but a lot of them have broken. The Crypt Horrors did their job with the shock. The enemy general is still alive over here, but he is nearly half HP, and our own King Walkoff will try to chase him down. But we'll obviously be victorious here, even if the regular ghouls will still take quite a bit of damage from all this stuff. They're a little bit too bunched up here. If only they had a caster of their own to get like a Pit of Shades on this. That would have been amazing for them. Alright, let's see. Will we get any more of that nice animation? Not seeing it quite yet. Come on, Stalkers. You can do it. I believe in you. At least they're ripping them apart. And we have one Crypt Horror here for some reason. Surrounded by infantry, but I guess this is where we want to be. The other unit of units, I should say, 2 units of Sepulchral Stalkers are moving in the back line here, killing every unit that they can. Obviously, they're attacking us, so if they lose, they're just going to run away, and we don't want a lot of their units surviving. But fortunately, the Sepulchral Stalkers are quite fast, the Crypt Horrors are quite fast, and the Crypt Ghouls are quite fast and poisonous on top of it, so we should have a pretty darn decent time chasing all the enemies down. And let's see what we got here. It looks like the enemy general is not quite dead, but he is almost ready to rout, especially with King Walkoff once again having approached him and ready to kill him. And I mean, technically they have 2 generals, don't they? They have the main general and then the supporting army general. Alright, where are you going, buddy? Where are you going? You're low HP, and are you routing? Are you actually trying to run away from here? Oh, it looks like you're terrified. Well, that's unfortunate for you, but the rest of this battle looks to be just about over. We're getting Realms of Souls, and we're healing even as we're chasing and killing. And, oh, it looks like you've stopped now, knocking back a few ghouls. But King Walkoff is ready to defend his people. Hey, don't you run. Where are you going now? He took another hit, and it looks like he's routing for good this time, and I think the chain route is here. Everybody is wavering, and we are... It looks like we're done. There we go. Now it's just a matter of chasing down all the enemies. Really good job by the Sepulchral Stalkers. I thought that they held the back line really well, and of course, that one banishment, though. That was amazing. Would have been nice to get another one up, but that's okay. We're going to speed it up as we chase down enemy troops, as there is no more fighting, obviously, and it's going to take a minute while we chase everything down. Ooh, look what we have back here. It's a little Orky settlement with a stone idol back here. We've got... Oh, we got little Orky huts. You know, I never imagined the orcs living in actual settlements like this, or camps, depending on what you want to call them. It looks like a pretty permanent settlement to me. I mean, we got spikes, we got these huts on top of, like, defensible locations. We got some sort of fire in a skull. I don't know what this is supposed to be. But I like it, don't get me wrong. But yeah, I always imagine orcs living in caves, but I remember playing... Age of Reckoning, the MMO, way back in the day, and I remember all the Orky camps there. Too bad that didn't work out so well, although I did really enjoy the PvP there. Anyway, that's it for the Border Princes. Let's see how everybody did, shall we? And there we go, another win against these fools trying to attack Arkhan's realms. And the MVP of this particular battle absolutely goes to our light mage. 66k damage, most of that off the back of one massive banishment that obliterated so damn many units. 563 kills on this unit alone, and it didn't chase anything. And that's more kills than the entire enemy got for this fight, so that's pretty damn good. Good job, buddy. A real good job. It's almost a third of all the kills our entire army got. Foolish AI, and I did keep trying to set up that banishment, moving back and forth, almost losing you to a couple of volleys of the handgunners, but hey, it worked in the end. And same with the sepulchral stalkers. If there's a second MVP, it's obviously the stalkers, because they did their job perfectly. Anyway, this battle is over. We are going to bind the souls again just to replenish a little bit, just in case there's another army right about to attack King Walkoff, because you never know, since there is about to be an Ordertide. And let's see, border princes are not going for us anymore. Somebody attacking the Desolation of Nagash. Oh man, these dwarven armies over here are going to be an issue. And there we go, yeah, you got your defeated Grombrindal trait. We got a free Gambler's Armor, which I'll certainly take, and otherwise, there isn't anything left. Unfortunately, that was not even a turn, but I am going to have to call it here. 2 big battles, or 2 cinematic battles, this is the entire playtime of an episode, and next time, we have a lot of dwarves to fight, and I mean a lot. This entire freaking thing is our front now. We have a massive front line. Oh, and it looks like Kurun is also going to fight us. I think that means what we'll need to do is quickly take King Rakash and use him as a defensive army. Alternatively, we could summon another lord. What are we researching here right now? You know what, I'll think about it and we'll deal with it next time, because they will have armies coming over here as well, and I really don't want to be losing Skaven Blight. We're going to be using most of our defensive stuff for defensive buildings, and I do expect a lot more defensive fights, but you'll have to tune in next time. So with that said, as always, I do appreciate any and all feedback with regards to the gameplay or the way I do things on this channel. If you have a second, please do take it to leave a like and a rate, comment to support the channel. It really does help. As always, all glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.